The specific day can only be determined once we handle the year of Herod's death. You can see from the table that everyone in the early church put Jesus' birth after the generally accepted modern date of 4 BC. Many reference a regnal year of Emperor Augustus. Some have multiple syncs, which is nice because it shows that they were trying to be as specific as possible. The AUC column is referring to the year from the founding of Rome by Romulus. Now, if you're wondering about the 41st/28th year of Augustus that Tertullian put down, is that his first reference of the 41 years stems from the death of Julius Caesar, and the 28 years stems from Cleopatra VII's death, which occurred nearly a year after the very firmly dated naval battle of Actium, where Octavian, i.e. Augustus, defeated Mark Antony. I do say firmly because this event is the most well attested to from the ancient Roman historians, and can be fairly firmly pinned down to September 2nd, 31 BC. Thus, Augustus's reign hinges on this date, and so do other Roman leaders in both directions, which overall gives us these general spans for the Julio-Claudian dynasty after Octavian was given the title of Augustus by the Senate on January 16th of 27 BC. In reference to these emperors, only Luke refers to any of them in the New Testament, and only Luke 3:1 attaches itself to a specific regnal year. And do take note that this reference is for John the Baptist, not Jesus. Now, before you go jumping the gun and simply adding 15 to 14 AD to make 29 AD, is that regnal years started and finished sometimes in the spring or sometimes in the fall. So there's overlap involved, and a 6-month shift in difference between those two is pretty big in chronology. In our 70 years of Babylonian captivity study, is that we had to map Cyrus's years from March to March with an accession counting method being used. This allowed for us to see that the 70th year overlapped part of Cyrus's second and third year. Then we could overlay even more events and see that the first returnees could have returned back in 2 possible years, with the latter fitting the context much better. It's an illustrative example that regnal years need to be broken down into their month-to-month ranges in order to date events more properly, or at least more precise. But when it comes to figuring out what Luke meant by the 15th year, is that we will need to take in consideration both the front end and back end events to know which year he was zeroing in on. Generally speaking, we can have a span of 26 to 29 AD as potential years for the start of Jesus' ministry. Finnegan lists 15 different regnal counting methods that Luke would have had at his disposal. Luke 3:23 says that Jesus was about 30 years old when he was baptized. So, rewinding the clock 30-ish years gives us a window of 5 to 1 BC. Throwing in Herod's supposed death in 4 BC is that you do have a little overlap here, but that's only if you take 26-27 AD as your starting point, which only leaves the 5 BC Comet proposal for the Star of Bethlehem. And just to add, is that if you're one who goes with the 33 AD date for the crucifixion, is that you can't say that Jesus was born in 6 to 5 BC, as you are now making his ministry almost last 7 years. So, if you're going with a 29 AD start, 33 AD crucifixion, is that you then have to have a 2 to 1 BC birth date. But that falls after the 4 BC date for Herod's death. So, I hope you can see how all of this hinges on when Herod died. Because by maintaining a 4 BC date, is that it forces you in a certain direction And the only way that you can get out of those chronological handcuffs is by treating the word about in Luke 3:23 very loosely. And sadly, many do that, but should not, because the 4 times that Luke refers to someone's age is that he was being very specific in each case. If he knew that Jesus was 12 years old in chapter 2, then he would know the precise age when he started his ministry. Now, if you're wondering, how in the world can someone still possibly argue for the 12 BC date, as that would make Jesus around 40 years old when he died and with about a 10-year ministry? Simple. Don't bring it up. What? Yeah, I'm not kidding. If you don't bring it up in your article, then you can keep your whole thing looking like a real possibility. I know it sounds lame, but that's honestly what a lot of these guys do. Now, Jerry Vardaman, who went with the 12 BC date, did so in conjunction with saying that instead of Luke 3:1 saying in the 15th year, is that the original wording was the 2nd year of Tiberius, based upon how numbers can be written out in Greek. Is there actually any evidence in favor of his view? No. The ultimate problem for Jerry and others with this is Pontius Pilate. Everyone has Jesus being crucified under Pontius Pilate. Josephus's infamous statement about Jesus has him with Pilate, and even Roman historian Tacitus does in his history work as well. And since Pilate's time frame as prefect is from 2627 to 3637 AD, is then that Jesus' ministry and death has the same lower and upper bound limits to them. Looking back at Luke is that he lists 5 more chronological references to the 15th year of Tiberius, including Pilate being governor. So he was being extremely specific as to what year John started his ministry in, and shortly thereafter, Jesus started his. Caiaphas's time as high priest lasted between 18 to 36 AD, which falls after Vardaman's 2nd year proposal. So it just really does fail in so many ways. The last-ditch effort is to refer to John 8:57, when some Jews were debating Jesus, and quite angrily, mind you, that they said that he wasn't even 50 years old at the time. So the angle here is to say that 12 BC to 33 AD is roughly 45 years, and that fits into their statement quite well. And they might even throw in something like Irenaeus' interpretation too. But I'm sorry, are you really going to give more weight to the ticked off Jews in the heat of the moment when debating Jesus about his pre-existence than Luke, the historian, who was intentionally zeroing in the reader to a specific starting year while saying that Jesus was nearly 30 at the time? So, let's just be done even considering this view once and for all. Reminder, hit the subscribe button below, turn on the notification bell, hit the like button, and leave a comment. And don't forget to visit us at justscripture.org. And in the meantime, stay salty.